Okay, can I just be very honest about the Nolan Wells situation? I know that a lot of people get up on the internet, and I do, y'all understand this. I know that race is real. You know that race is real. And when I say real, it's not that, we are black, we are white. Look at me. Am I black? Look at you. Are you black? Look at white people. Are they white? Okay, so we do understand they just concepts that are made up, right? But when I look at this Nolan Well situation, about the three white younger guys that he went to, go have fun with, and he didn't come back home. I also look at Kanika Jenkins. I also look at Shanquela Robertson and the many, many, many more, because there's so many more out there. And what I'm looking at, y'all, is these young people, right? I was once young. Let me share something with you. I remember years and years and years ago, I was in my hometown. I was staying in North Dallas, and me and my friend girl, we went and we was working at a place called it's called, they've changed it so many times. But anyway, it's when it first started out, if anybody from Dallas, you know what I'm talking about. It was called ATC. So back in the day, it was called ATC. It has grown to be multiple names. But what it was a major center who done call center work, right? So they would do campaigns. You would have AT&T, you would have Verizon, I mean not Verizon, AT&T, just any kind of call center companies, right? It could be Southwestern Bell, it could be anyone, but you would be assigned to these campaigns when you would get hired, and you would work your campaigns, right? And in these big conglomerate companies like that, you make friends, you got your home girls. My particular home girls I went to school with, we came together. We didn't meet there. We knew each other from school growing up. But anyway, we got off of work. She dropped me off. And let me share something with you guys. This is real. Like, if you think this is black and white, let me share something with you. So anyway, I was a young girl, and I had my kids with me at the time. I got pregnant very early. So, but anyway, I had my kids with me at the time. And I had just got off work. She just dropped me off. And you know how young folks is, y'all. They just can't stop. Like, I just seen you all day at work, and then I'm going to talk to you on the phone too. Well, back in the day, we didn't have these cell phones, guys. We didn't. So what ended up happening is that we just had landlines. So I had just moved in my apartment, just moved my apartment. My homegirl got her apartment up the street, and then I got my apartment up the other street, right? So I had just moved in my apartment, and she drops me off. So here I go, finna go to the payphone to call her. Yes, payphone. It was back in them days, payphone, right? So these guys stopped me. I'm in this apartment complex. Apartment complex is square. So you can turn a circle around, and then you can see everybody's apartment, right? Because it was an interfacing courtyard apartment. And it was probably only, I don't remember how many units, but very, very small community, brand new apartments. And I will never ever forget it. These guys was like, "Girl, why don't you just ask one of us? Why are you going to the payphone?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know, because I didn't know them, right?" And so they appeared to be nice. They appeared to be sweet. And I was like, I'm just trying to use the phone. And so they was like, "You can just ask one of us." I was like, "Okay, cool." They was like, "Girl, go on in there and use the phone." They was just like some cool guys, right? So that's, at least that's what I'm thinking. So I go inside and I use the phone, right? And so I'm talking, I'm yapping, me and my girlfriend, we just talking about what happened at work, talking about such, 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 such. And so then all of a sudden the guys come in and they close the door. And when they locked it, my senses heightened. And when my senses heightened, I knew something was wrong. They started walking toward me. They was like, mm-hmm. They was like, mm-hmm. So I just immediately, I was like, ah! I just did the crazy bones. You know what I'm saying? And so, but anyway, at least that's what they called it. And so anyway, they was like, they got startled. And they was like, girl, you crazy. I was like, "No, y'all crazy." And so then I ran to the door, I unlocked it. It was so quick, guys, I can't even really explain it. That's how fast it happened. And I ran outside, right? And I didn't think nothing else of it. I just, in that moment, I just knew something was wrong. Something was wrong. Something was wrong. Something was wrong. But I didn't know what. And I didn't know what was going on, right? So I go back to work. I ain't thinking nothing of it. I'm just out of there. Glad to be out of there. So I go to work the next day, same routine. My homegirl drops me out. I get off. I get out the car, and when we drive up, we looking at all of these cars. They just all around. It's special forces, and I'm thinking because during that time, guys, you have to remember, dope selling was very, very popular back then. And I don't know if you guys, if you from Dallas, baby, North Dallas was thebomb.com. That's where the Cowboys used to hang out at the clubs. All the stars would come into town. North Dallas, before they built that train, that city train that goes out there, that was the stomping ground. Park Lane, all of that, Marsh Lane, Park Lane, everything back Manderville, all back up in there, guys. Like now it's like a bunch of foreigners stay back there now, so it's totally changed. But back then, it was the stomping ground. Like your mama, your cousin, your daddy, your families, everybody, and whoever knew whoever, the Cowboys, the Stars, everybody would come in, and that was the stomping ground. So, but anyway, I just remember we driving up, and it's like all these cars out there, all the special force police, everything. And so I'm like, girl, they probably doing a drug bust, because that was the common, right? These were big time dope dealers, though. It wasn't like the ghetto drug stuff. It was like nice cars. They had the call girls back then. We talking about top call girls. We talking about when stars come in town, Cowboys in town. We talking about top call girls. They drive the top cars. These girls stayed in some of those apartments back there. They stayed in the nice luxury parts. And my apartments were new, though, because at that time those apartments were new. And that's how it was. And so I'm like, it's probably just a drug bust. So I get out the car, guys, and let me tell you something. When I get ready to go in, I asked one of the people, because like I said, I'm brand new over there, so I don't know people over there like that. So I asked this girl named Keisha. That's how me and her became friends. I was like, Keisha, I didn't say Keisha, but I was like, what happened? Because I know her about Keisha, but I was like, what happened? And she said, you see that apartment right there? And so I looked, I was like, yeah. They was like, it's some guys in there. They killed this girl. And immediately, my heart dropped, and my breath went up. And I was like, I said, and so after I found out all the information and stuff like that, I said, it could have been me. I was like, it could have been me. So I just began to explain to her what had happened, and how I jumped out of there and stuff like that. But they had brutally killed this young lady. They stabbed her, they killed her, and they raped her, and they left the knife up in the vagina and threw it in the trash can. And what ended up happening is that later on, I found out. Because everybody kept talking about it, right? And I found out it was a little boy. He had went to the trash can. That's how they found the body. And you know how your parents say you go throw the trash out. He went to the trash can to go throw the trash out, and he saw something that looked weird, and that's how they found the girl. Now, mind you, this wasn't a week later. It wasn't a month later. It wasn't years later. It was like the next day. So you have to understand how bloodthirsty these guys were. You have to understand like what was happening, the psyche and all of that. And yes, they were people that looked like you and I. You understand what I'm saying? And so when I look at Kanika Jenkins, when I look at, and these people I didn't know, I didn't go to a party, we're not coming back, and these are what you call close calls in life, right? And yes, God, the creator, however you choose to call it, the lifespan, God spares us, right? So when I look at this, this is why I'm challenging people on race. I am challenging people to understand that this young man that's known as Nolan Wells, you do have to understand that he didn't just meet them, and then all of a sudden they was racist and came after him. This young man had been hanging around these people for years. He grew up with them. The families grew up together. So you really have to question, like, is everything race like you want it to be? Sometimes things is envy and jealousy underneath. There are people that can hang with you for years. How many of y'all just over the years who's been going through this separation cycle, who's been going through this growing cycle? How many people that look like you've been hanging with for years, and it wasn't until you prayed, and it wasn't until you asked God, who is this person? Who are these people? That all of a sudden things shifted. All of a sudden you found out that this person was so envious of you the whole time, and you didn't even know it. And that could have cost you your life. It could have cost you something. Remember, jealousy is as cruel as the grave. So it's funny how you can be hanging around people thinking that you know people and you don't know people at all. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes when we look at many different factors, one thing I know about race, when people are really racist, I mean the racist mentality, you have to understand the difference between jealousy and envy. Most of those things aspire to have something that you have, or most of those things just simply are jealous of your future and your destiny, that bright thing that they can see about you. But racism, on the other hand, you really have to think about racism. Racism doesn't want to hug you. Racism doesn't want to party with you. Racism doesn't want to hang out with you. Racism want to be in your business and seeing what you're doing, but it doesn't necessarily hug you and hang with you and party with you. And racism just, it just doesn't, like, when you think of racism, if I think that I'm superior to you, and if I think you are nasty, you know what, the N word or whatever you want to call it, and I just think that you're so beneath me, and I just think you so, do I really necessarily want to hang with you? Do I want to party with you? Do I want to be friends with you? Do I even want to pretend to befriend you? You understand what I'm saying? So I think the reason why people like to use racism, because it really covers up the nastiness, which is murder. Jealousy is murder. Envy is murder if you're not careful. Um, it really is. Racism doesn't necessarily kill you all the time. Racism just doesn't want you in a world. Like, get out. Don't come hanging around me. Don't stay in my neighborhood. I don't want to be your friend. No, don't bring me no pies next door. Like, don't play with my kids. But it doesn't necessarily trying to kill you per se. You understand what I'm saying? Now, some races do, but look at racism. There's always been clan. Baby, look. I'm about 50, honey. I've been born and raised in Texas my whole life. I have never seen a Klansman jump out at me. And I've been to small towns, big towns. I've been to Arkansas. I've been everywhere. I've been on the streets by myself, walking late at night, mornings, all kind of stuff. And I've never seen a Klansman jump out and say, you know what, N word, if you don't get it together coming up this street, you know what I'm going to do to you. I just never seen it. Not to say that somebody else hasn't. Remember, like I say, all of our stories are different, but I've never seen that. Racism is usually a little bit more sinister than that. It's a little bit more, oh, I deny you for a job. Oh, I don't really want you in my neighborhood. Oh, I don't want to swim in the pool with you. Oh, I don't want to be bothered with you. You understand what I'm saying? So when I look at Nolan Wells and I look at the pool situation, I look at all these things. To me, those are more ritualistic things. To me, those are more sinister things. Those are more jealous. Maybe Nolan had a bright future and everybody knew it. Sometimes there can be calls on your life and bright futures on your life, and people have to rob that. They have to take that away. So that's why you got to be very, very careful. And I wanted to share that with you today. And just in case, if you have not seen the latest episode, I am sharing it plainly with you like this, but I go a little bit more in detail with information. Remember, TCLN Network is a leadership news educational channel. So I do it from a leadership perspective. I look at the leaders, what they're talking about in our world. Um, I look at information, I bring that information to us, and we learn in a more professional environment, right? Because after all, our goal is to get better, be better, and do better. But I also like to just be laid back a little bit and share a little bit of insight with you guys. I would love your support if you are following me here on TikTok. If you are following me on YouTube, I am asking you to start supporting. I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you if you subscribed, because every subscriber do matter. Believe that it does matter. But more than just subscribing, let's get engaged. Let's start having conversations that make change, and really just being a supportive community toward one another. But I do want you to start just really thinking about your life, examining your life. Sometimes people work so much, work so hard, or they just going, distracted, and they don't never sit down and just think. They don't reflect. And that's probably why they can't see the many nuances in their lives. You understand what I'm saying? When you sit down and you begin to reflect and you begin to say, have I experienced a certain type of behaviors that I say that white supremacists do? that I've seen within Black people and other races. Reflecting on your experiences, reflecting on your life, just really thinking about stuff. You understand? Thinking about the encounters you've had, thinking about, the people you've ran into. No, all of our stories are not going to be the same, but I promise you, you're going to find some threads. You are okay. So, but I would love your support if you can support financially. There's Cash App up there. There's PayPal up there. I would love for you guys to just whatever you have, support it up any way that you can. And hey, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. Do you hear me? Have a wonderful week. I'm telling you, a wonderful one. Bye bye. Weekend. Weekend, guys. Weekend.